Right? So just when you think that things couldn't get any crazier out there, they get crazier. So Quebec has implemented a curfew. I think it's like 8 p.m. to, I don't know when it ends, but it starts at 8 p.m. And it started last night. Last night was the first night of it. I don't know how long it is exactly, but that really doesn't matter. There's also talks that Ontario is going to implement one of these. They're going to announce it on Monday. I guess we'll see how that goes. But the whole point of this is, like I started out saying, just when you think things can't get crazier, they get crazier. And this is like I've been saying for the longest time. This is pretty much the first thing I have to bring up every video. In that, again, like until more people wake up to this, until more people start questioning this, things aren't going to get better. Because again, this is the thing I really, this is, of all the things when it comes to this situation, this is probably the one I can't stand the most. I may be forgetting something, but it is the people that don't support the lockdowns, or at the very least, they don't believe in some of it at least. You know, maybe they believe in mask mandates, but they don't believe small businesses should be destroyed. That I mean, that's a common one. The thing I and That is the majority of people. Like the amount of people that support the majority of the lockdown measures is a minority of people. In fact, I think it's a pretty small minority of people. The problem, like I always bring up, is that a lot of these people that disagree with the lockdowns, or at least to the extent that they are, don't ever say anything. They don't say anything. They just keep the thoughts to themselves. Again, like this is the other thing too. Like I know people that, again, they disagree with the lockdowns, but they watch the news almost every day. Like it's like, what are you doing? It's like, a Jew during World War II, like willingly listening to the World War II German propaganda. Like again, that is a little bit of a hyperbolic example, but not as much as what one would think, because this is the other, I think, really big problem when it comes to this situation. That one of the crazy things about this too is that you have a lot of people saying, "Oh, well, you don't need to be doing anything out at night anyway." Again, like this is just all the more proof, I think, that the average person these days is so ignorant it's not even funny. Because again, every terrible, terrible atrocity that's been done throughout history, almost always it starts out like this. Almost always it starts out like this. It starts out with something that maybe a little, is a little bit bad. Then people say, "Oh, it's not that bad, guys," and then they push a little further, and then you still have people saying, "Oh, it's not that bad, guys," and then they push a little further, and then, "Oh, it's not that bad, guys. Come on." And then eventually you get concentration camps and you get gulags. And this is the thing that I'm trying to think, is that we've already tried the massive fines. We've already tried shutting down most businesses aside from the big corporations. Now we have curfews. Where do we go from here? For all the complete and utter idiots who are apologizing for this garbage, where do you think we go from here? Well, it's going to be throwing people in jail. I mean, it already is technically. I assume I don't know if they're fining people who get caught outside or if they're arresting them, but this is where we go. And this is the reason why, number one, I'm so outspoken about this, and number two, I really don't care what people think. Because again, like this stuff, this is no longer minor political disagreements. This is what I've been bringing up for a long time. People who support this support throwing you in jail, uh, for disagreeing with them politically or for disagreeing with them on this issue. I don't believe that you can be cordial with those people. I don't think that you can have relationships with those kind of people. So again, like this is the thing too. Like by not reconsidering relationships with people who support this stuff, you're basically saying that you're okay with being friendly with people who want you in jail, right? Just for wanting to earn an honest living, right? Just for wanting to earn an honest living. So again, like that's just what I would say personally. But like I say, I think the reason why that this is so scary, because at every point along this situation, the government's solution, and these quote unquote experts, which again they're just zealots, but their solution has always been double down, especially in Canada. Like in other places, they're maybe somewhat more reasonable, but in Canada, it's always been double down. It's never been, you know what, guys, we've tried it, it didn't work. We're gonna, we're going to reopen, or at least mostly reopen. They've never said that, even though they have all the data in the world to show that that's the right thing to do. They are going to keep doubling down. And again, the problem is that when you keep doubling down, the doubling down has to be more and more draconian as the doubling down goes. So again, like where it goes from here is pretty much gulags. Pretty much gulags. Again, this is the thing I've been bringing up for the longest time. I've made multiple videos about it, that this is where this is going to end up unless more people wake up. I really don't get um, why so many people refuse to speak up when it comes to this stuff. I really, really, really don't understand, because it doesn't take that much effort, and the majority of people agree with you anyway. Like the amount of people that agree with the majority of the lockdown measures is a very small amount of people, right? It's a very small amount of people, and they're probably people you should be avoiding in the first place. Um, so again, where I think this goes from here is it's going to be more doubling down. I think it's going to be more doubling down. I think some places may not double down, but I mean, as far as Ontario goes, as far as Quebec goes, they've made it very clear that they don't value freedom at all. And this is the other thing too. Like, I've been bringing it up for a while as well. Is that why do we still pretend that we are a free country? Like, why do we still pretend that we are a free country? We're not. If rights can be taken away this easy, we're not a free country. Like we're not a free country. We don't have free speech. The charter means absolutely nothing. I mean, it means absolutely nothing at this point. Um, and I think the biggest problem nowadays is the people that support all of this stuff. They really don't appreciate because again, schools do such a terrible job teaching the value of this stuff. The mainstream media does a terrible job reminding people about it. And again, when people don't value something, it's gonna go awry, right? It's gonna go awry. We are going, as a society, we are going to face the wrath. We are going to be punished for not valuing freedoms. It's going to happen one way or another. But the thing that really bothers me most about it is the people that deserve to suffer the most are the ones that are suffering the least. And this is one of the many reasons why I'm so upset about this stuff, is because the people that deserve to lose their jobs and their livelihoods is the politicians that have supported this stuff, and the doctors that have been lying and misleading us this entire time, right? But again, like I said, things aren't going to change in the end. In the end, things aren't going to change until more people get up in arms. It's not going to change until more people get up in arms, because a lot of people still, even though we're almost a year into this whole garbage situation, they still think that things are just magically going to turn around. But that's not going to happen. And again, a lot of people also still have the, oh, it's not that bad thing. Oh, it's just a gulag. It's not that bad. It's just a concentration camp. It's not that bad. Again, like this is the people that make these arguments. Number one, they're so ignorant of history. It's really not even funny how you can be that ignorant of history, because again, like no, villain throughout history was open and honest with people saying, yeah, I'm gonna oppress you as much as I possibly can. I have horrible intentions. I'm just giving you guys a heads up. I have terrible intentions. I want to kill and oppress the most amount of people I possibly can. Like nobody does that, right? Nobody does that, and because in their mind they think that they're the good guy, right? In their mind they think that they're the good guy, and they're usually people that are very good at convincing people that they are the good guy, right? So anyway, the next thing I wanted to bring up is from Dennis Raincourt, saying the late scientist Kary Mullis, Nobel Prize for inventing PCR, had this strong opinion about the professional ethics and scientific competence of Anthony Fauci. I would side with Mullis on this question. Again, I mean, you can go watch the video yourself here if you want. But again, like number one, they say that the PCR test is not a valid test to test for the virus, and this is one of the other reasons why I think anybody who still trusts the government at this point is absolutely insane. Like we're almost a year into this, and the best test that we have for this whole situation is a test that at best yields 50% false positives, and that's on a good day. Like that's the best testament. Like again, this is just all the more evidence you need that the people in power don't have good intentions. Like the people in power don't have good intentions. Like we live in the year 2021, right? The amount of crazy technology we have these days is absolutely insane, but yet the best test that we can get for this virus is something that yields at best 50% false positives. Like, that's laughable. Like, that's completely laughable. Not to mention it can take days or even weeks to get a result. Like, come on. Like, anybody who believes that, hears that and believes, oh yeah, the people in power have good intentions, like, come on. Like, you're absolutely insane if you believe that. From Colin Carroll saying, "Did you know that forced lockdowns have an adverse on people's physical and mental health? Once again, the MSM is late to the party." Now, again, Global puts out an article saying 40% of Canadians struggling with mental health addiction amid you know what pandemic. Again, like, it pains me to see this kind of stuff. Like, it really pains me to see this kind of stuff. Number one, because I know people that have been very much affected by this. Me being one of them. Um, Number two, because a lot of those people watch the mainstream media and yet they still believe they're garbage. Like this, like I always bring up, it's one of the most interesting psychological phenomenons, I think, is the fact that so many people watch the mainstream media even though the agenda they're pushing doesn't even go in their own self-interest, right? And by in their own self-interest, I just mean like a general good self-interest, not even a selfish self-interest. Um, but again, the mainstream media is absolute garbage. Like, the mainstream media is absolute garbage. There is no way you can look at the amount of increase in drug overdoses and suicide, stuff like this, and still think that, oh yeah, the lockdowns are a good thing. There's no way you can look at that and still believe that. And I think the way that these people get away with having these crazy beliefs is they simply live in an echo chamber, right? They simply live in an echo chamber. This is why they genuinely believe that everybody who wants to reopen is just selfish, right? They're just selfish, even though it's usually the other way around. If at very least it's nobody that's being selfish, um, because the reality is, again, um, wanting to earn an honest living and wanting to have a livelihood is not selfish, right? It's not selfish. Again, and the reasoning for it doesn't even make sense either. Like, the hospitals have never been overwhelmed. The death rate is the flu for most people, even less than the flu for healthy young people. Again, so I mean, this is the other thing too. Like, there's no way you can hear 97% of people dying are in nursing homes, and of the rest, like 75% of them have multiple underlying conditions, and think, yeah, the restrictions should be the same for everyone. Like, anybody who makes that argument is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And again, asymptomatic spread is incredibly rare. So they're one of the other fundamental reasons they bring it up is, oh, you may not be at risk, but you're going to spread it to grandma and she's going to die, right? No, that's complete bunk. Asymptomatic spread, incredibly rare, if even existent at all. And number two, if you're sick, then most people they're not going around all the time anyway. Like, this is just pure insanity, right? And I mean, this is the other thing too. Like, why have we never seen any more studies or tests that have been done to figure out exactly where this is spreading? Why have we not seen that? And I think the real reason that we haven't seen that is that I think the data would show that the places where the virus is actually, number one, it would show that it's not spreading nearly as much as what the paranoid zealots would have you think, and number two, it would probably show that it's spreading in the places that they're wanting you to stay, like in your house, for example, right? Because again, their solution to everything is just locking people in their houses. But again, if the data shows that that's where the virus is spreading the most, well, of course they're not going to publish that data. Again, we know that the virus, it's very, very rare that it's spreading um, at like brick and mortar businesses. It's very rare that it's spreading, at gyms, at salons and stuff like that. But they're closing those, right? So again, the main point here is that the mainstream media, they're so out of touch with reality and with the average person. It's not even funny, but they have such a monopoly, or maybe not a monopoly, might not be the best word, but such a clutch on the average person that there's no way that they can break free from their trance, right? There's no way they can break free from their trance. And the last thing I wanted to bring up here is from Ben Bradley saying on Twitter, a Chicago teachers union leader rallied teachers to refuse to go back to the classroom to stay safe. On Instagram, the same day she posted pictures poolside in Puerto Rico. Again, like this is the average teacher here. This is just classic teacher. Especially the unions, right? Especially the union, the big ones, big on unions. It's I want to get paid as much as humanly possible, but I want to work the least as humanly possible. That is why unions exist. That's basically the entire philosophy of these leftist union people, is that they want to work the least, they want to produce the least amount of value in society, but yet they still want to get their cushy six-figure, high five-figure salaries, right? They want their full pensions, they want their full benefits, right? And again, like I have no problem with people getting cushy salaries or full pensions or any of this kind of stuff if they earn it, right? If they actually earn it. And the difference being is that what the teachers have done is that they gain a monopoly or close to it, and then whenever they want something, they just strike or threaten to strike, and they get whatever they want, right? And because they reliably vote left, the left will do whatever they want, right? The left will do whatever they want, knowing that if they do whatever they want, they're going to vote for them, right? So again, the incentives are entirely backwards, right? The incentives are entirely backwards. Like I brought up, like if a teacher was making $1 million a year, but through the free market, I would be perfectly fine with that. I could care less. But if a teacher is making, $100,000 a year with full pension, full benefits, full everything, and they're getting their 3 months off during the year, but they're doing it in a public school, well, yeah, there's a big problem with that because they're not earning that money. They're earning that money by simply voting for it, right? They're earning that money by simply voting for it. So, and again, the other thing too is this whole stay safe garbage. Again, I've been over it a million times. Death rate is less than the flu for school age kids. Asymptomatic spread incredibly rare. The virus is not spreading a lot in schools. The main reason why you see the case numbers up in schools is because the amount of false positives we're seeing, right? The amount of false positives we're seeing, because again, the PCR cycles are so high. So again, if we really wanted to see what the actual numbers look like, we would set the PCR test to like 25 cycles, not 35 to 40. But that's a different point in and of itself. But anyway, that's what I wanted to bring up today. If you like the video, make sure you get that hit that like and subscribe if you haven't already. Check out those links below. Follow me on those other platforms. It's very important you do that. YouTube, Twitter, they are banning everyone within the matter of who knows how long. But again, everybody will be banned, at least that has credibility on YouTube and Twitter. So check out those links. Follow me on those other platforms. If you want to donate, you can do that as well. Again, I appreciate whatever support I can get. But like I say, check out those links and stay tuned for more.